hello, welcome, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you find yourself in the world. Hello to all our new subscribers. We are Sporticast. This is Sporticast Football. This is the 343 show where we speak about all things football. Today I am joined by my trusted colleague, Jason Ronnie. How are you doing, Val?
Yeah, all good, man. Happy to be back. I think this could be one of the first pods in a while where everybody on their team has won in the weekend prior. So it's overall good vibes, and we'll see how it goes.
Nice one, man. Yeah, like our match is happening tonight, so I'm kitted out in the Kudek colors. You kitted out in the Kudek colors, so yeah, I'm keen for that one. Odwa, you're smiling quite big over there, man. That league at the top of the table has you in eternal bliss, it seems.
It looks good, man. I must say, it looks good. I'm very happy at the moment. Very happy at the moment. Happy to be at the top of the league. The team is playing well. Good vibes all over. So yeah, man. I'm happy. I'm happy to be a
Is, is
Liverpool
it good
fan.
vibes all over though? Because a certain somebody is waiting for a contract, and he keeps speaking to
Don't
the
worry about
media
that.
about that contract.
Don't. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm not even worried about that. I'm
Do you,
sure. I'm sure. I'm sure Liverpool, if they're in their right mind, they will do what's right, which is offer Mo Salah what he wants. I don't care what it is. Just give
Mm.
that man what he wants, man. If he
yeah,
has to
no.
be if he has to be the top earning player at the league, just give him that, man. Yeah.
So I think currently he's the top earning player at Liverpool, if
Yep.
I'm
He
not
is.
mistaken. And it's now just about like trying to keep him happy and ensure that he um, keeps. Obviously, this level of form is crazy that he's in it in the moment. At the moment, he's probably the most informed player in the Premier League, if not the world. And yeah, like I mean, pay him what he wants. I don't know if you guys caught that segment on Sky Sports over the weekend with Daniel Sturridge and
I
Jamie
did.
Carragher, Roy Keane,
Mm.
Michael Richards, and they were having this sort of debate of like, should Liverpool pay him what he
Yeah.
wants? And I think majority of them said that they should, and then Carragher was the one that like there has to be like lines and boundaries put in place. But I mean, Salah is a generational talent, man. I mean, you're
Yeah.
gonna sell him. You're not gonna, or not even gonna sell him. You're gonna lose him on the free, and he will go to another team. And then who are you gonna replace him with? There's nobody that's going to have that sort of clutch form BMT all in one. You're gonna have to look far and wide, extremely hard to find somebody that replaces him. So, Jason, I just want to throw that to you. If you were head of football at Liverpool Football Club, are you throwing whatever the man wants just to keep him to stay? Note that he is 33 years old. So if you offer him another 2 year deal, the dude's going to be 35. But I don't think he slows down, though.
Yeah, I think you have to try your best to try and secure him. So if that means you have to break a bit of a wage structure, at this moment in time, I think if he leaves, the contingency plan isn't set up just yet in its entirety to replace what Salah does for the team. So whilst you've provided possibly the reinforcements in your midfield area, you lose a massive threat and a massive source of goals and assists and just overall play by letting him go. And somebody else profits because 33-year-old Salah is still keeping up with the best, and he is still probably, I feel, probably one of the most consistent players over this last few seasons. Um, and I think a large part of the form that he's showing is Liverpool's good start, good maintained start rather, because there are periods where Liverpool look out of it, and it takes a split second just for him to flip the switch and just to change the sort of fortunes. So yeah, I think I would try and secure him. And I say this knowing good and well that my club tried to secure Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, broke the wage structure, completely disrupted the thing. But I feel that there's a bit more cohesion at Liverpool, and I think they all understand the sort of angle, the sort of journey that we're on. So, or not we on, they on. I support Arsenal, as well Liverpool. Um, so yeah, I would say do your utmost to secure him.
Or do you agree with that?
Yeah, man, definitely, I agree. I mean, yeah, Salah is 33. If they offer me him a 2 year deal, it's going to be 35 by the end of it. But who's like at this point? I don't think Salah has had a bad season. I mean, Liverpool has only won the league once in Jurgen Klopp's era, but during that period, Salah has had 20 goals plus all those seasons. So for me, that's consistency. Like he doesn't have a bad season, and it doesn't look like he's going to slow down this season even. So why not just give him what he wants? Because he's going to give you goals.
Yeah,
If you offer
Yeah,
him a contract, I'm sure now he's going to play more happy, more relieved, and he's going to give you more goals this season and the season after. So to me, it
yeah,
doesn't look like he's slowing down. He's actually getting better because now he's adding assists to his game, not just scoring. So I'm saying give him what he wants, man. Yeah, at this point, I don't see. I mean, Harvey Elliott was supposed to be the replacement for Salah. That's
mm,
how they were talking about, yeah, the contingency plan that we speak of. But then
yeah,
Harvey Elliott is always injured. You're gonna lose a month or two with him, and
yeah,
Salah is always staying fit. I don't remember Salah being out for a month or two in
yeah.
any season that he's played at Liverpool. So he gives you that. He's always going to be there unless it's at AFCON. But Salah is always there, man. He's always going to give you goals, even if he's not performing well. So I'm saying, give him what he wants, man.
yeah. And he also doesn't seem like the type of guy that if he say for example they offer him a 500K a week
He's not
contract.
gonna slow
Um,
down.
he's not. What I wanted to say is, I don't think he's the type of player that's going to down tools. I don't think he's going
Yeah,
to be like, okay, I secured the
he's
bag and now I'm just not
exactly.
going to try.
Yeah,
Salah seems like that hungry type of player that wants to keep on proving himself, and I think he's still working towards a Ballon d'Or before he retires.
Mhm.
He's just been super unlucky with the type of competition he's been going up against every single year for the past 5 or 6 years. So now that there's a clear pathway in terms of no more Messi, no more Ronaldo, Mbappe is very much off the boil.
Yeah.
I think that it could be within his sights, and that might be some extra motivation for him even after a big payday. Um,
mm,
so yeah, I think it's a no brainer to try and just hold him down and show him, give him whatever he wants. We have Ziad in the comments saying offer a 1+1 contract, high wages with a mutual option for both parties for the second year. Yeah, I think that is probably the most logical way that they can go about doing this. And um, I mean, they have really good football people involved in the club.
yeah,
Um, and I think Nikita's also mentioned it before, where it's like they've dealt with like different contract situations already. But like Salah he's in a league of his own. Um, Another person that they are dealing with, and David Ornstein actually just broke that news about 2 or 3 hours ago, and that is Virgil van Dijk, and they've finally offered him a contract. Um, he hasn't accepted or anything yet, but there's like for negotiations is what I've read. Yeah, how are you feeling about that, or did you always expect them to offer both Van Dijk and Salah a contract? Um, and I think we all know. I think Trent knows that he's probably going to be on his way. So, did you always think it was going to be the two of them that would stay, and or did you think all three of them would end up staying?
So I think I've expected both Van Dijk and Salah to be offered contracts. I mean, those are two Liverpool players that we don't want to lose because there's no backup in those positions at the moment.
Yeah,
mm,
So you would want to make sure that you secure those contracts before anything happens. And in terms of trend, there's Bradley, Gomez can play there as well, so there is backup. So I don't think Liverpool would want to break the bank for Trent at the moment. But yeah, for Salah and Van Dijk, I think they would want to secure those signatures as soon as possible.
yeah. Jason, do you think do you if you were to choose between the two, how far up um, the food chain would you think Van Dijk would need to be to secure his place at Liverpool?
I don't know. I mean, look, he's probably being top three most important players in the Klopp era, and now probably going into the Slot era, right? You had Salah, you had Alisson, who I thought was very pivotal for Liverpool, and then Van Dijk. So yeah, I think he's probably going to be. He's probably number one, to be honest, because you can sort of make an excuse for like Odwa said, we've got like not we. I'm saying again, guys, please.
Bro,
I'm
I
not.
think you need to change your
I'm
jersey or
speaking
something.
as if I'm in the actual club. They have the supposed cover, right? They've signed quite a few players recently that could potentially fill that sort of Salah void. Van Dijk is, I think he's probably one of one, and I think he's immediately lifted Liverpool's game once he had signed. So I think he's probably the most pivotal one for them. I don't think Salah goes. I think Salah wants to stay, so he'll hold out for as long as possible. Verge could still have a few more glamorous offers where I don't know whether any of the traditional big teams would go for like Salah, whereas Verge could still possibly give you a few more. Maybe I'm just speaking incorrectly. But yeah, I think Ziad mentioned or he had asked, do Liverpool re-sign all three? I'm of the agreement that I think Trent is going to go, and I think it's been because, there's been that little bit of talk in his ear. He had developed a good friendship with Jude. Englishman going to Real Madrid, it's not uncommon. And I think there's a chance for him there, and there's a gap that's going to be open. I think Vasquez getting on, Carvajal getting on, it's perfect, probably primed for him. And I think that probably intrigues him. So I think Verge paramount. Salah will also sign. So
I think that's fair. We're just gonna stick with Liverpool now. Go a bit to the game that happened over the weekend. To me, it was very much one-sided when Liverpool beat City 2-0. Odua, did you expect that result? Were you confident going into it? Did you expect City to actually show up on the day?
Yeah, man. For me, City, before that game was a wounded animal. So I wasn't as confident that Liverpool will get a win against City. If anything, I was predicting a draw 2-2. I was very surprised when the game actually started and the first half went on, and it looked like City did not show up at all in that first half. Even in the second half, I don't think they created any major chances apart from the one Van Dijk almost gave to De Bruyne. But man, I was very surprised by City. Or I'm not sure if Liverpool were too good or City were just bad during that game. But I'm just happy with the result. We look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I think I don't think any of the players at City, during their time at City, they've become so spoiled with all of their success that they don't really know how to deal with these sort of obstacles and roadblocks. And then Pep Guardiola as well. He never ever had 4 or 5 games in a row that he didn't win, and now it's gone on to 7. So that's brand new territory for him as well. He got chanted at Anfield, sacked in the morning. He responded to that. The cracks are showing, in my opinion. Jason, do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's definitely there's a lot of factors that are looming over City's head right now. So I think it's definitely starting to take its toll. One of the comments I see Ramiz is just waiting to see which part of the anatomy Pep would scratch next. He's still got a big surface area, right? He's still got his head that he can still scratch there, but it was tough to watch. While City were poor, I think Liverpool still had to put them to the sword. So even if a team is bad, you have to beat them, and I think Liverpool did that well. I was a bit disappointed because in the season that City seemed to be tapering off. From a personal perspective, Arsenal are not stepping up. I would have thought they would. But yeah, it's still only well, I mean, it was the start of December, so it's okay. But yeah, I think there's definitely more that's sort of happening at City that we're not privy to. I mean, coming out after the game, I think he was talking about De Bruyne and lots of rumors talking about Pep De Bruyne sort of falling out. Whether that's true, I don't know. Look, De Bruyne's had numerous injuries over this last few times, so he's also starting to get to that point where legs are getting a bit heavy. But you also can't write City out. But that game was, I think it was kind to City. It could have been a lot more,
Yeah.
and it could have been close to the Spurs game. And I think Liverpool were probably worth more than the 2-0.
Yeah. So I read something on social media over the last couple of days since that result, and um, they like everybody's basically saying that Pep is unsackable. So even if City goes on a 20 game run without a win, he would still be safe. And I think he's earned that. He's earned, like, I mean, all the success that is done in his career, he's earned that sort of protection. But I just think like there's so much that's coinciding with what's happening around City, the club, this season, with the court case, with like, how do we even know that he will like that they're not just doing this to distract from the fact that the court case is happening and they're basically just going to be found guilty of everything. And yeah, I don't know. That's just me thinking with my conspiracy brain. But yeah, I just want to close that off. We're gonna move on quickly to two more reviews from the weekend, and that was Ruben Amorim's first win as the Man United manager. It was touch and go for the first 30 minutes or so. I think Everton actually looked more likely to score, and United were lost. And something happened on the touchline, and that was Amorim yelling angrily at Garnacho and Mason Mount to go warm up. I don't know if that just galvanized everybody on the pitch to make sure that okay, now we actually need to like kick into gear now. And then they actually started playing proper football. And then after that, he told the two of them just go sit down again. So yeah, I like that sort of authority. But yeah, how do you guys think that his first few games have been for him?
I don't know. It's sorry, Odo, I'm just gonna let me just jump in here
No,
because Yad's wanting me to finish the segment quickly.
Nah, it's just because like there was links with Everton to Arsenal also in the past in the last
mm,
couple of years. So I don't know, the saltiness man comes out sometimes.
okay, that's fair. Um, I think it's been good. The opposition hasn't been of the highest level, so United had some time to sort of figure it out. Not to say that they have. Um, but it's going to be games like that where you are going to give up lots of possession. You are going to give up lots of chances. It's just the sort of system that Amorim wants to play. A good sign is probably the fact that Xerxes scores, Rashford scores. So yeah, it's good. I'd like to see it be tested, and hopefully this evening it obviously gets tested. But I think he's got a good temperament about him. From what I've seen with all of these interviews that he's been doing, he seems like he's pretty assured of what he wants to do,
Yeah.
and I think he's been given assurities to sort of allow him to do what he wants to do. And I say all of this in the first few weeks, and it's fine. It's always happy. The honeymoon phase is always good. Um, we'll see whether the real United comes in. And when I say the real United, the structural issues, whether
Yeah.
the functional ownership starts to seep through, when the first maybe 2 or 3 games don't go as you'd once expected, and the fans start calling for his head, suddenly calling for different team selection, that's when it really comes in. But
But he's
again,
actually handled that quite well though.
yeah,
In terms
yeah,
of
no,
like telling the fans like in press conferences he said
yeah.
like don't be too happy because the chances are storm is still coming. there's going to be games where we're going to play poorly. And I like the fact that he's saying that before the time, and he acknowledges that this is a work in progress for the most part. I don't think we've had a manager that has said something like that. I don't remember Mourinho ever saying that, like, we're going to go through a bad patch. It was always, they always just look at the glass half full. But I think this is a very good balance of how he's dealing with the fans and how he's dealing with his team as well. He's making sure that everybody in his teams gets a run, gets time to prove themselves, so he's not writing anybody off here. Odwa, from your side, Merseyside side, we're going to get into that preview a bit later, but Everton don't look great at all. But for that first 20 minutes, they actually looked like a team that can stay up in the Premier League. Did you watch the whole game? What did you think about that first, like, 20 to 30 minutes?
Yeah, man, I feel like they played well. And I like the change that they made at the top, because Calvert-Lewin is not delivering at the moment. So putting in Beto was like a statement to say that, okay, here's an opportunity, I'm giving it to you, so do what you can with it. And they actually played well, man. They played well until they conceded. But then, I'm a fan of McNeil as well. But then, I think United at the end of the day were just too much for them. But they did have a very good first half.
Yeah, no, fair. One last game that I want to go through from the weekend, and that was Chelsea winning 3-0 again. They're just looking more and more assured of themselves. Like Palmer, he goes in the big games, yes, but in all the other games, he comes through, he's clutch. Nicholas Jackson is just becoming more and more of a threat to whoever they play against. And like I'm starting to like him more and more as a striker. I just think that entire team, the Maresca ball, everything is coming together quite nicely. And as much as I hate to admit it, Enzo Fernandez is also starting to blend in nicely into that team, even though I don't like the guy. Jason?
I suppose the key thing for him was when he divorced his wife and suddenly he was free. The form has just skyrocketed. I don't condone divorce, but I mean, if he was needing to get out to free himself, shackles on my feet. I think it's going good. It's going okay. It's they're gonna have to address in those big games when Palmer does ghost a bit. But for now, they're just quietly accumulating points in a time period where people aren't really paying them too much mind. It's a lot about Liverpool, obviously leading the way, City with its dysfunction, and Arsenal slowly starting to pick up steam. So I think it's best to go about this in the way that they currently, just ever so quietly get the points. When it comes to those big games, almost, it's like 50-50. You have a go, and if you don't, people will still say, oh, okay, no, Maresca's still learning and all those things. So they're in a very good space to sort of just quietly trickle on, accumulate points. And I think a massive factor is that half of the squad is not involved in the Conference League games. So it's like, okay, you actually get a week off between games. So all of the main players stay injury free. So that's, I suppose, the benefit of having a 100-man squad.
Yeah, man. But I'll have to agree. Chelsea have just been under the radar, doing their thing. Even when other players are injured, others are coming in because of the 100-man squad. They've been playing well, if you actually watch them. And there's no pressure on the coach. And I think it sort of gives him time to do whatever he wants. No one is questioning his squad selections as well, because the players that he's putting in every game have been performing. So I think that's a good thing on his side. So they've stopped questioning, out of the 100 players, why did he select this 11? So I think that also the fans, they're starting, they're trusting in him. They're giving him time. There's no pressure, man. He's just doing his thing. And I think now they're going to play Southampton, which is Easy fixture. I think there's more fixtures that are coming along. Whereby we'll see what happens with the Rio. Like, if there's any cracks, at Chelsea. But yeah, I think Chelsea the under the radar. They're doing very well. Quietly doing
Yeah.
their thing. Yeah, if they just continue doing it this way, I think they'll finish in the top four.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they finished top four, regardless of like some hiccups or anything like that. How good was that Cole Palmer goal though? Guy was falling
Mm.
and he wrapped his boot around it and it still managed to go into the top corner. That was some insane skill from him right there.
And you could
Um,
see it right from when it left his foot. You could see that it
Yeah,
was going in. The
yeah,
keeper couldn't do anything with that, which was very
yeah,
cool.
but he was
yeah,
also lucky the way he used that defender. So basically
yeah,
using it as a skill, and it's like, okay, I think he had said afterwards as well, if I'm able to get it around the defender, then he was certain of it. And it looks like it's luck, but I mean, look, players practice. They
yeah,
practice for these sort of things so that when it happens, it just becomes instinct. So it is good to see. We still need. We have a few more questions that need to be asked of him, but yeah, I think he's really taken like a duck to water there at Chelsea.
yeah. Odua, we have a question in the chat for you. Who would be your top four for the season?
um, I don't know if I still remember correctly. I think I put Man City to win the league, Arsenal second, Liverpool third. And I think I said Chelsea fourth. Now I'm gonna
What's your
change that
revised
around.
top four? Yeah.
Now I've had to revise that with City's form and Liverpool's form. I think I'm putting Liverpool in first, Arsenal second, Chelsea third, City fourth. That's my top
Ooh,
four.
Yeah, you see,
not a
you say
bad
City
one.
goes on a run at the end of the season to just about scrape top four.
Yeah, I think so. They're still City, man. I think they're still City. Just after they just need to get over this slump or whatever, because they've never been in this position. So they just need to get out of it. Forget that you've lost so many games in the past few weeks.
Yeah,
Just focus on the game that you're playing right now. Don't listen to everything else. Just play, do what you do, and because you're Man City, man, you have very good players. These are the players that were winning the league last season. So what has changed? Nothing. So
yeah,
just keep on doing what you were doing. It should be easy for them. I think once they get that mentality or whatever that
Yeah.
they're going through out of the way, then they should be fine.
yeah. Sounds good. Before we get onto our two previews, one last bit of news that I just want to cover, and that is Ruud van Nistelrooy got off to a winning start last night for Leicester City. I don't know if either of you guys caught the game, but that Jamie Vardy looked like the Jamie Vardy of old, eh? Looks like he's gotten his hunger back. What do you guys think of Ruud van Nistelrooy just turning things into a dub on his first go?
It was I don't know if it was so much Leicester or it was just West Ham being utterly poor. But again, as the theme of all of my takes have been, even if a team is poor, you obviously have to put them to the sword, which is what Leicester did well. Whether it's just a little bit of a manager bounce and they slump back to where they previously were, I'm not too sure. But it looks like he has him cooking, and I think Vardy in the twilight years now is going to profit so much from working with a coach like Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah,
With all of the experience that he can bring, all of his and it's a real life experience. It's him going through exactly the same thing as he was getting older. I think he was at if I'm not mistaken, after he left Real Madrid, he went to Hamburg, also a bit old, and he just completely changed his game to be where he needed to be when that ball was then put into the box,
yeah,
and he was finishing quite a bit. So yeah, I think Vardy profits. I think there's going to be a bit more structure. I think Leicester have been very up and down. And I don't think Steve Cooper was the guy to get the best out of the players that they have. Not saying that they have the best players, but I think it's if Ruud can survive and he gives some sort of showing, maybe they get a bit more backing, and then we see maybe a different Leicester team. next season. But yeah, should be good. But it is also going into the very busy Christmas period, so we'll see that mental and that metal of that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Vardy looked fresh yesterday, and the whole Leicester City team looked very fresh compared to West Ham. I don't know what West Ham was doing. They were losing balls very easily. The passes were poor. The energy was low. Even your like the players that you look for, like your Bowens, your Kudus, they tried some things, but it just wasn't
Yeah.
working out. I don't think it's so much as what Leicester did, but I think the energy at West Ham at the moment is just it's not good. Um, I don't know what's happening there with the manager and stuff, but the energy is not good at West Ham, and they're heading towards a very dark direction. Something needs to happen, and especially around the senior players. If you can see that Antonio is not performing, just look for another option. So,
Yeah.
I mean, something needs to
On the
happen,
bench.
and the coach.
Yeah.
Sorry.
They have Fulkrug on the bench as well, so I'm not
Yep.
sure why he's not
Yeah.
using him.
Yeah. So
I mean, didn't he score last night?
coach.
Yeah, didn't he
Yeah.
score last night?
Yeah, but like he started on the bench, so
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah, so
Danny
I
Ings
think-
that was in the starting lineup.
Yeah, it was. So they just need to go. The coach needs to make some decisions. The players, even though they're senior players, the players that are not performing, he needs to bench them and give the opportunities to the players that actually want to play. Because at the moment, players like Antonio, they don't seem like they want to play at the team at the moment. So, yeah, man, that's
Do you
that's
think
just what.
he's the next manager to lose his job?
At the moment, it looks like it. It
Yeah.
looks like it. Yeah.
Odds would be
Yeah.
on, but maybe it's like a Liverpool, Roy Hodgson situation. Give them a penalty, see if any of them miss it, and if they do, then you know that they obviously trying to get Lopetegui out. But yeah, they just look so deep.
Give it to Antonio because Bowen's gonna score it. Give it to Antonio. And see what
Bowen wants that goal so he can still get England corner. Antonio doesn't care at all. He's a certain Jamaican starter, so yeah.
Cool, guys. So let's move on to our preview for. I think this is on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken, or is it Saturday or Sunday?
I think it might be Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. It's Spurs versus Chelsea.
Spurs to Chelsea.
And I think that ends the weekend, and then the Merseyside Derby starts the weekend. But yeah, Spurs versus Chelsea. We have like Spurs. That's basically a sort of a yo-yo in the Premier League. They winning all the tough teams, or they're doing really well against the tough teams, but then at the bottom they tend to struggle against those teams. Mentioned on the last episode that they were like a sort of a Robin Hood, take from the rich and give to the poor. So now that they're up against Chelsea, who look really assured and they're playing really good football, do you think that their mindset is going to be changing after what they did to Man City? Do you think that motivates them the extra little bit to make sure that, okay, we can actually like do this? We actually have a chance of getting a top 4 here. We can't let any of this like slip. We shouldn't bottle things anymore. Because I don't think in their wildest dreams they would think that they would be beating Manchester City 4-0 at the Etihad. So that obviously has to give them some sort of confidence to move forward. Jason, I don't know if you want to take that first.
Yeah, it's they're really struggling at the moment with that element of consistency. I think it's spanned into the Europa. I think they were up against Roma as well, threw it away at the end. Fulham now the weekend pass, but yeah, put a big guy in their face and they generally turn up. So it is very strange. I think the game itself is an added element of what had happened last season with that, whatever Ange wants to call that, playing a high line basically outside Chelsea's box and hoping that people can actually defend from there. I don't know the situation in terms of the two centre backs, whether they will be back. It is an interesting game. I think Spurs, if they can somehow manage a result against a good Bournemouth team right now, I think that's before they actually play against Chelsea over the weekend. It probably gives them a lot of confidence. They do, however, have Anthony Taylor on the game, who we know hasn't had the best few games, but more specifically, he hasn't had the best games refereeing this fixture. I think back to the yellow cards and red cards that should have been given, and yeah, he's got a bit of a weird relationship with this fixture. So a good result against Bournemouth sort of puts them in a good place to play against Chelsea. I don't know how Chelsea approached the game. They've also had a bit of a mixed history going there to Spurs, so I think it'll be a good game. I think it's one of those games as well that can be a banana skin for either team. Either team could turn up and be one of the world beaters, but in the same breath, they could also not, and it could be one of the worst showings of either team. So, yeah, I think Spurs have to go with a bit of confidence because that's the only way that they'll be able to beat Chelsea.
Yeah. Where do you think the battles are going to be in this game, though?
Yeah, I think Spurs play well against teams that attack them and hit them on the counter because they're very quick at the top. If they have Kulusevski, if they have Johnson or and Werner. With teams that sit back and play and build from the back, I think they struggle. And I think with Sunday's game, they'll struggle because Chelsea at the moment are looking very structured with that midfield of Lavia and Enzo and who's this guy?
Caicedo.
Caicedo played right back in the last game, though.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but that's Chelsea because Reece James' hamstrings were made.
Yeah, but we know this. We know this. Sorry, Odwa, you can go on.
Yeah, I think Gusto is back though, right? I think Gusto is going to be back for Sunday's game. So I think Gusto's going to play there. So yeah, Chelsea's looking very structured at the moment, and then going forward as well with Cole Palmer and Jackson on form, Neto on the right or on the left. I think they have a very solid team, and I think Spurs, the way that they've been playing, they'll find it hard to break down Chelsea. But for Chelsea, it's going to be easier to break down Spurs. So, yeah, I think Sunday's game, I'm giving it Chelsea's way, just purely because of the way that they've been balanced and the way that they've approached their games, as compared to Spurs, whereby you don't know what's going to happen on the day. You see, now you're even saying that their performance on Sunday is dependent on how they perform against Bournemouth today. So, whereas for Chelsea, you know exactly what to expect, structure. So yeah, man, I think Spurs is going to struggle against Chelsea. Yeah, I'm going for a Chelsea win on that game.
To be honest, I never thought that I'd see anybody smoke Kyle Walker in a foot race. I mean, that happened with Timo Werner.
Yeah,
that was something to behold, to be honest. And I just feel like if he gets an opportunity like that against somebody who's not even half as fast as Kyle Walker, and that would go for Gusto or Caicedo, Caicedo being the slower one. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Andrew's going to set his team up to play off that last shoulder with Werner the one most forward, and that could actually be extremely entertaining to watch, I think. And I think the match in a whole, it's set up like really nicely for neutral. But I know, Jason, you probably are hoping for Spurs win here, eh? Just to give you guys some breathing space from Chelsea.
Yeah, I hate to say it. Much like Odo, I'm going to support a team that I don't like. With him supporting United this evening, I think it's going to be exciting. This history of these two teams, it's goals, it's mishaps, it's a bit of comical football. Yeah, I think it's going to be something hopefully for the ages again. I want to see who's going to who's gonna out bozo the other team? That's really what it is, and it should be fun. Should be fun, definitely.
Yeah. So just on that note, let's get some predictions from you guys. Odua, you can go first. Spurs versus Chelsea. What do you think is going to be
Spurs
the
versus
final score?
Chelsea. I'm giving it to Chelsea. 2-1.
Nice, Jason.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna add one on there. I'm gonna go 3-2 Chelsea. Actually, no, I'm gonna go 3-2 Spurs. That's
I'm also leaning towards Spurs. Yeah, I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Tottenham, and yeah, at least there's going to be some sort of wiggle room in the top four. For City to come back in, for Brighton to move around there as well. Everything's within their reach. But yeah, that's our concludes our preview for the Spurs Chelsea game. And then starting the weekend off, we have the Merseyside Derby. Like we said before, Everton showed glimpses of what they actually can do. But now it's just putting them up against probably their biggest rivals, their hometown rivals, and I don't see this game going anywhere else, in my opinion. Jason?
Yeah. Ugh, it's hard to look and say, okay, Everton's going to turn up just because they haven't shown anything. So, is it at Anfield or is it going to be at Goodison?
I don't think it's at Anfield. I think it's at Goodison. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not going to be as open, I suppose, but I still think it's a Liverpool win. There's only so much you can do if you need to rely on like Dwight McNeil and possibly Calvert-Lewin playing well for you to beat Liverpool in the way that they are currently playing. So, I think it's going to be a comfortable Liverpool win. It might not be a high-scoring game, but I think there will be long periods where Liverpool just control the game, and it just depends whether Salah gets a chance and he finishes, because otherwise I think Darwin misses at least 3 or 4.
We're forgetting about Cody Gakpo, though. The guy's it's been a sort of revelation season for him. Like, we all knew his capabilities, and we all knew that he should be playing off the left wing. But now that he is, he's scoring goals, he's assisting. He looks like he's enjoying his football. Odua, are you happy to see that, or are you sad that Luis Diaz is now moved out to that spot, and he's not hitting his stride like he normally used to?
Yeah, man. For me, it's a good thing, because now there's competition. People know that they need to perform. You're only as good as your last game. So now Diaz needs to find himself a position, because Gakpo is performing very well. So that means he needs to perform very well if Nunes is not there. Because I think at the moment Diaz is playing better up front. Not that Jota is not there, so I think he's the better option. And then Nunes comes into the second half, brings more energy, just to sort of bump the defenders and create chances for Liverpool. I'm happy that Gakpo is finally being recognized, and he's playing amazing. He's playing amazing football at the moment. He's very quick. His finishing is on par. And I think Liverpool is going to have a very good game at Goodison on Saturday.
Yeah, and I mean, Gakpo will be going up against 39-year-old Ashley Young at right back. So, I for one,
and it's a revenge, right? This is a revenge game, because I think when we were challenging for the title in April, they beat us 2-0, right? Yeah, they beat us 2-0. So this is actually a revenge game. I'm hoping we score at least 3 goals on Saturday.
What do you guys think the chances are of an upset in this game?
0%.
Yeah, very, very low. I don't think Everton have what it takes, unless it's like a James Stokowski-esque full Jagielka long ranger. I think that's about the only possible way.
And
Everton gets something.
And something that's very good, like at the moment at Liverpool, is that in set pieces. They're actually defending very well, and that's the only place I could see Everton beating Liverpool at the moment. But
Yeah.
Liverpool is playing well in that position. Corners, free kicks, everything, every set piece, they're able to clear very well. So I don't think Everton is going to get anything on Saturday's game. I would be very surprised. I would be very surprised if something happens, or even if they score, I'd be very surprised.
Fair. Yeah, let's just end off with some predictions for this one. Oda, you can go first.
Liverpool 3-0.
Jason?
Yeah, actually, just listen to that. I think it's probably going to be like a Liverpool 2-1. I think Everton will get something, but it's not going to be. It's going to be like the silliest goal. It's going to be something so like you'll actually gift it to them. But yeah, I still think too much to actually lose. And yeah, I think Liverpool 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going with a Liverpool 3-1. I think Dwight McNeil is going to have a top game, but it's just not going to be enough to carry his team through. But yeah, I think Dwight McNeil, Abdullah Doucouré, like they have the players that can try to get something out of this, but their confidence is rock bottom, and there's no way that I see them getting a win over this Liverpool team, this informed Liverpool team. But yeah, that wraps up our live episode for today. Thanks everybody for joining. Thanks everybody in the chat. Ziad always holding the chat down. Ramiz as well. Thanks for coming through. Odwa, thank you for coming through, always coming in clutch for us. Jason, lovely to always have you here. Where can the people find you on social media?
Yeah, still at Jason_Ronnie. I've made a vow for Blue Sky, so I will create that account this evening, and you can catch me there. But yeah, further than that, it's on those platforms. Yeah, X predominantly.
Nice. Odwa, just put his handle on real quick.
Exactly.
quick. Give me some time.
Because I always forget. So it's that deep order on Twitter. You'll find me there.
Nice one. We are at Sportycast on all social platforms, mostly now on Blue Sky, trying to integrate ourselves into that community. So if you aren't on Blue Sky yet, come find us, come chat with us a bit over there. We are nearing on 100 episodes, so there's going to be a massive giveaway probably happening in the next couple of weeks. Keep your eyes on our channel for details about how you can try to be in the running for that. And yeah, find us everywhere, Spotify as well. We have all of these episodes drop in podcast format on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you find your podcast. Give us a 5-star rating. Comment on our podcast. Try to get our algorithm up that way. We really do appreciate it. But yeah, thanks again for joining us all year. I'm A for 343. Peace.